Yo, what's up, homies? So today I'm actually going to tell you guys a pretty crazy story. I wasn't planning on telling this story at all. I was just like thinking about how I was going to tell a different story. And I kind of decided I would tell this story instead. So this is about the time that I very, very easily could have been arrested. So this happened, I was probably in grade 10 or grade 9. It was either right before or like just going into high school. And so whenever I was buying weed for a while, well, how should I start this story? Hold up a second here. All right, so this actually happened with one of the homies that I used to smoke weed and do the whole weed tube with. I filmed a couple of videos with him way back in the day. Now, what would happen is I didn't have like anybody at this point to like buy weed from. I didn't have like the contact really. And this kid did, and I'm just gonna call him Joe, right? Because it's gonna make things easy to have a name for him. So his name's Joe, and Joe used to always, I would give him the money, and he always used to like go and pick it up from somebody, and then like bring it back down and from like some apartment building. And he would never, he would never introduce me to the guy, and I was always like nervous about that. But this day it was all fine. Like I bought like a half ounce or an ounce or something. And we were just walking around smoking weed. And actually, before even we bought the weed, while we met up and we were walking to go buy this weed, and we met up at a McDonald's, and we were just walking down the road, and we saw like all of these cop cars just like ripping ass down the main street, and they just like were swerving in the intersection between like the two main streets. And we saw undercovers like swerve out of just traffic out of nowhere. Like it was like a fucking action movie. And they all just like piled into this one apartment building. And he said that he knew somebody that was like involved in the drug trade of some sort that lived in that building. So he was like, yeah, that guy's probably fucked. But it was some of that was crazy shit. That was like one of the craziest scenes I've ever seen, really. If that makes sense. But yeah, and then like, cops were like, they had checkpoints all through the city that day, and there was helicopters, like they were looking for somebody. I don't think they got what they wanted there, but there was a lot of activity that day. But I wasn't really thinking about it, so we just went to go buy this weed. And I give him the money, he goes upstairs and comes down. I actually do meet this guy, and I realize why he didn't want me to meet him, but I'll tell that in a different story. So he goes up and he brings my weed down, and we're like walking around town, we're smoking joints. At this point it's like pretty late, like it's by the time we're headed back to his house to go home, it's like one I looked at my phone, I think it was 1:15 or 2:15 or something like that. And we were walking to his house, and his house was like across town from where we were. So we were walking home. I was like really high. My tolerance was real low at this point. So I was just like really fucking high. And we saw this cop coming down the road, and he passes us. And I was just in my head, I was like, oh fuck. Like I hope to God that guy doesn't do a U-turn. And we both looked around, and he was already like in the midst of turning around. There was nobody else on the street, so we were the only ones he saw. So he came over and he stopped us. He's just like, oh, where are you guys going tonight? And he asked for IDs. And at this point, like I didn't have a driver's license, or I still don't have a driver's license, but I have the learner's license. So I have the photo ID. But at this point, I didn't even have that. So I gave him my school license, which actually my friend back in the day, like probably maybe a year or so before this happened, he wrote Bong Master or Bong Ripper 3000 or something on my school ID. So like that cop obviously seen this. He's seen Bong Ripper 2000 written on my fucking school ID. Like it was just bad, man. We were smelling like weed. I had a scale with me too, which was bad news. And yeah, we were just like fucking just high as fuck, and he just gave it back to us. And I was nervous though, but not that nervous actually. I remember I gave it to him, and I was just talking to my friend, and he was older than me, but he was like a little bit more sketched than I was. And I was just like, no, don't worry, man, like it's gonna be fine, like as long as you don't have like a warrant or something, like we're gonna be all good. And I wasn't even really like, I was so high that I wasn't even thinking that I was high, and I was like so high that I didn't even noticed that I had weed on me type of thing. I just knew that it said Bong Ripper on my thing, so I was kind of upset about that. But he gave it back and told us we were good. And as I put the ID back in my pocket, man, I felt this thing, and it was like, oh shit! I realized I had a half-smoked joint in my pocket the whole time. So it's like we were definitely smelling like weed. But he let us go. I think that's just because they were looking for somebody. But yeah, he let us go, and we ended up walking back to my friend Joe's house, and it was all good, and we didn't have any more trouble. But that cop easily could have, if he just searched us, man, because this was before, because I live in Canada and weed's legal now, but this was before weed was legal. And I guess I can't even say I was underage because it was illegal. So I mean, there is no age that you could smoke it. So, but yeah, it was a fucking crazy story actually, because those cops were going crazy all night, man. And just seeing those roadblocks when they just like at the beginning of the night when they were just like whipped into the main street and just fucking poured in the fucking apartment, I was like, damn, this is a movie set right here is what I'm watching. Fuck, man, it was actually crazy. It was a crazy time. No, but I miss smoking weed. I miss smoking weed with that guy. So I'm probably gonna, I might hit him up and maybe kick it, man, because it's been a long time. Maybe after this quarantine shit, though. Maybe I gotta let that rest out. Fuck. All right, guys. So if you enjoyed this story, be sure to drop a like. It's gonna help me out a lot, and subscribe because we're gonna be pumping out this new content all the fucking time, guys. So hope you enjoyed. Peace out, homies.